The average person goes to the zoo, and they eventually make the inevitable stop at the Reptile House, arguably one of the zoo's most popular attractions. The part of the zoo with all the snake and lizard exhibits. More often than not, despite everything there, it is the big snakes, specifically the boas and pythons, that capture your attention more than anything else. These snakes are gargantuan in size, and let's face it, they are absolutely fascinating. And once you see them, it's usually hard to look anywhere else. Now, they aren't doing much, usually just lying still or curled up in a corner, not moving, breathing so slowly that you barely even notice it, and most don't. They are so perfectly still that most think it's fake, or they say it's dead, or just sleeping. However, zoos don't display dead animals, and they would know that the animal was dead before guests see. And if an animal were even close to dying or displaying symptoms where it is believed to be at risk of dying or being sick, it is taken off of display. So the animal is not dead and not fake. If a zoo were to display a fake animal, it would be labeled as such and not displayed as if it were real. However, it probably doesn't help that you could come into the zoo the next day or even next week and find whatever giant python or large boa you were looking at in the same position as it was before, or maybe even moved ever so slightly, but basically it's in the same position, even after weeks. So, what's going on here? Well, for the most part, snakes aren't a very active animal to begin with. Their biggest strength is their ability to conserve energy, and that is what they do, especially the big ones. Snakes being a cold-blooded animal, they are entirely dependent on an external heat source for heat and energy, things our body can generate from burning calories of digested food. Snakes get calories from food too, but without an external heat source, they can't get anything from it, or even digest it properly. Some snakes may even refuse food if temperatures are too cold for digestion. The bigger the snake, the more heat dependent it is gonna be, and that is why the biggest snake species are always native to tropical parts of the world, every single one. So the snake inside the exhibit often needs to resort to basking a lot, or lying under a heat source in order to digest a meal. Thermoregulation is very important for an animal whose entire activity level is dependent on external temperatures. And when digesting a large meal, the digestive process takes up so much energy that they often don't have energy to do anything else. So they ultimately end up just laying there for the most part. And digestion is very slow, as it is depending on external heat to support its metabolism to break down food, and it often takes weeks or even months to completely digest a single meal, depending on the size of the prey consumed and its constitution. The largest snakes kept in captivity often need to be fed large farm animals like goats and pigs to sustain themselves. The fact that whatever is being eaten is swallowed whole isn't doing any favors for the digestive speed, as the process of breaking it down takes so much longer since it has to break down an entire whole animal, leaving the snake in a seemingly low activity state for an extended period of time. But little do onlookers know that what's going on inside the snake's body is so demanding that its heart has to increase in size by up to 40% to support the metabolic demands of digesting a large meal. In big snakes, this can be a very long process, as these snakes can go for months at a time between meals because of this, sometimes even over a year. Now, another factor, brumation. Brumation is an annual cycle in which the snake may enter a time of low activity. Yes, even lower than it already usually is. This is the reptile equivalent of hibernation. This is when the animal spends an entire portion of the year just being inactive, and its body has simply slowed down and is no longer burning sufficient calories for anything that requires activity, including digestion, and snakes may often refuse food at this time. Brumation is usually sparked by seasonal patterns, annual drops in temperature in which a snake cannot digest food. Snakes brought up in human care still go through this phase even if the temperature isn't brought down. Another factor is shedding. The snake has outgrown its skin and needs to shed off the old layer and expose the new layer. The process of the chemical separation of the old layer of skin from the new layer of skin is a process that can take weeks, and the whole process is very uncomfortable for the snake itself, possibly giving it a very itchy sensation for the snake, and also very fluid expensive on its body, which is why humidity and a water source for drinking is very important for the snake at this time. And he may refuse food and choose to remain hidden until that process is complete and can then physically remove the skin. The bigger the snake, the longer this may take, so it is always longest in bigger snakes. Then there is the circadian rhythm, the daily pattern of an animal's sleeping and waking up cycle. Due to a considerably slow metabolism and low activity levels, huge snakes like boas and pythons often endure long sleep cycles and short wake cycles. Couple this with the fact that the zoos are only open to the public by daytime and most boas and pythons are largely nocturnal. And that means the likelihood of seeing one actively moving around is very low. Factor that in with all the other things mentioned and you have an animal that you almost will never see moving, even if you observe it for weeks on end. Mammals, like us, have faster metabolisms than snakes, and we are prone to storing fat, which yields lots of potential energy, and it is to be used. Which is why if we consume a surplus amount of calories and aren't active, we will end up storing excessive amounts of fat and inevitably become obese or overweight. Pythons and boas are often very lean and despite their low activity, often don't store a lot of fat and they don't constantly burn huge amounts of energy at once. We are built for moving constantly. Snakes are built for short periods of activity, short bursts of energy, and long periods of inactivity. Energy conservation. That is the way of large-bodied snakes.